Ever since humans set foot on Earth, tales of mythical beings have both captivated and haunted us with their otherworldly forms and fearsome powers. These stories stretch back thousands of years, and if you claim not to believe in them, go ahead, watch this video, and then try sleeping peacefully tonight. Here's our list of the top 15 mythical creatures that actually existed in real life. Let's start off with number 15, Sirens. Sirens are a mythological race that has embedded itself into modern pop culture. Films and TV now portray them as dangerous enchantresses whose hypnotic voices lead sailors to destruction. But the myth's roots go all the way back to Homer's Odyssey. Odysseus famously instructed his crew to tie him to the ship's mast so he could hear their song without falling victim to it. At the same time, he made his crew block their ears with wax to avoid being lured in. The strategy worked. Sirens weren't just beautiful, they were lethal. Their voices weren't sweet, they were weaponized. They drew men in with melody and crushed them on the rocks. Ancient texts describe them as bird-like women or mermaid hybrids. Today, sirens appear in everything from horror films to online fan theories. Don't be surprised if you find them in a streaming thriller. They've become pop culture killers with voices designed to haunt. One beautiful chorus, and it's over. Number 14. Basilisk. The basilisk, according to ancient folklore, could kill a person with just one stare. It's often compared to legendary Medusa, though the two never cross paths in mythology. Still, if deadly looks could collide, it'd be a brutal showdown, probably with no spectators left standing. The earliest known mention of the basilisk is found in natural history by Pliny the Elder in 79 AD. The creature earned the title King of Serpents, and descriptions vary. Some say it had the body of a snake, others added rooster-like features. Either way, people feared it so deeply that myths claimed its presence could wipe out entire villages. Even its breath was considered fatal. The basilisk was so embedded in medieval superstition that entire texts debated how to avoid it, with mirrors supposedly being the best defense. It was the original silent killer, slithering through legend with the deadliest glare ever imagined. One look, and you were history. Number 13. The Jersey Devil. This horned menace still stalks New Jersey's Pine Barrens and has supposedly existed since 1735. The monstrous creature looks grotesque, sporting a horse-shaped head with twisted horn-like protrusions. It walks upright on two hind legs, each ending in sharp cloven hooves. Some versions of the Jersey Devil myth claim it was born to one of Daniel Leeds's wives, who was believed to be a witch. Not long after the creature came into the world, it supposedly grew wings, let out a terrifying high-pitched shriek, and vanished into the night sky. For centuries, eerie noises, slaughtered livestock, and fleeting glimpses of winged horrors have been blamed on this freakish creature. Residents of New Jersey, like those living near the Pine Barrens, still share sightings and stories. Whether myth, legend, or something stranger, the Jersey Devil has left a deep impression. Even today, that blood-curdling scream is said to echo through the trees whenever something unnatural stirs in the darkness. So, is it real? Well, if you see one, let us know. Number 12. Diprotodon. The bunyip is kind of like Australia's version of the Loch Ness, an aquatic creature with no photos, yet countless people claim to have seen it. The story gained traction through witness reports, passed down across generations. But in 1839, something physical gave the legend weight. Remains of a massive animal known as the Diprotodon were found in Australia. It was a colossal, rhino-sized marsupial resembling a giant wombat. The fossil proved that such a beast once roamed Australia, which may explain the myth's origin. Unlike today's wildlife, the Diprotodon was big enough to terrify anyone seeing it for the first time. It's not hard to see how ancient people encountering its bones, or even one alive, might have crafted stories that turned into legend. The creature, long extinct, could be the real root behind the watery terror locals whispered about. And who gets credit for cracking the mystery? Probably those noisy neighbors again. Number 11. Minotaur. The Minotaur, whose original name was Asterion, is a fearsome figure in Greek mythology. This part human, part bull creature was born from the unnatural union between Queen Pasiphae and a sacred bull, the result of a curse from Poseidon. Due to its grotesque form and relentless hunger for human flesh, King Minos, Pasiphae's husband, ordered Daedalus and his son Icarus to construct a massive maze, known as the Labyrinth, to contain it. The labyrinth was designed to be inescapable. Once inside, there was no way out. Each year, sacrificial victims were thrown into it to appease the Minotaur's appetite. The nightmare continued until Theseus bravely entered, using a spool of thread to find his way back after slaying the beast. The Minotaur has since become a symbol of raw instinct, monstrous identity, and the horrors that result when gods meddle in mortal lives. It's not just a myth, it's a reminder that some monsters are man-made. Number 10. Vampires. We couldn't make a list of mythical beings without throwing vampires into the mix. Easily the most recognizable of them all, the most iconic version is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Stoker supposedly modeled Count Dracula after the Romanian ruler Vlad Tepes, better known as Vlad the Impaler. While most people can list off a few vampire traits, fangs, bloodlust, fear of sunlight, there's actually no universal rule book for what they can or can't do. The lore varies wildly between cultures. In some stories, they're charming and immortal. In others, they're rotting corpses crawling from graves. That inconsistency hasn't stopped them from becoming pop culture obsessions. Movies, novels, TV shows, you name it, vampires are everywhere. Their image shifts constantly, but the theme stays the same. They're elegant, deadly, and unsettlingly human. Even now, they live on in books and screens, but their roots stretch far deeper than fiction. One thing's certain, people never get tired of the ones who feed in the dark. Number 9. The Hobbit. The Hobbit isn't just a fictional hero who saved Middle-earth from one very moody piece of jewelry. It's also the name for a real prehistoric species. Most don't realize that a small-statured group of early humans once coexisted with much larger human ancestors. Between 190,000 and 50,000 years ago, this species roamed parts of Southeast Asia. In 2003, archaeologists discovered the remains of a fully grown adult female just over 3 feet tall in a cave on the Indonesian island of Flores. Since then, researchers have unearthed additional fossils confirming the existence of Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbit due to its small frame. Their skulls and bones prove they were distinct from modern humans. Despite their size, they used tools and survived in harsh environments alongside giants. While they're long extinct, their discovery shook the scientific world. It was like unearthing a missing chapter of human evolution. Number 8. Griffin. The griffin is a legendary hybrid beast that combines the physical might of two of nature's fiercest animals. It had the body, tail, and hind legs of a lion, the king of the land, paired with the wings, forelimbs, and head of an eagle, the ruler of the skies. As its legend evolved through the Middle Ages, the griffin transformed into a religious symbol of divine strength, often used to represent guardianship over sacred things. Griffins appear in artifacts scattered across Europe, North Africa, and Asia, though the earliest examples were found in the Egyptian city of Hierakonpolis. These date back to between 3,300 and 3,100 BCE. The griffin's appearance was often used in coat of arms, architecture, and sculptures meant to protect something precious. Even today, it remains one of the most iconic symbols of mythic guardianship. With its unmatched blend of power, grace, and ferocity, the griffin didn't just guard treasure, it became one. Number 7. Roc. The roc is a colossal bird of prey deeply rooted in Middle Eastern mythology. Its legend found life in ancient tales like 1001 Nights, where it's described as strong enough to lift elephants into the sky. While it may sound impossible, the myth may have been born from real creatures. Fossils of the elephant bird, a huge flightless bird from Madagascar, show that it once stood over 10 feet tall and weighed nearly a half-ton. That's enough size and mystery to spark legends. Some also believe sailors exaggerated sightings of large eagles carrying livestock, fueling the roc's lore. In both poetry and oral tradition, the roc symbolized power, mystery, and the unpredictable strength of nature. Whether it's soaring above cities in stories or skimming the edges of half-remembered history, the roc still exists in imagination. And in the right light, even a huge shadow crossing the desert sky might make someone believe the legend never left. Number 6. Werewolf. Werewolf legends are everywhere, spanning cultures, centuries, and storytelling traditions. It's nearly impossible to pinpoint where it all began. Across myths, one thread remains: a cursed or bitten human turning into a wolf-like creature, often under the full moon. Each version changes the rules. Some myths claim silver is the only way to kill one. Others say holy water, fire, or decapitation works. The transformations themselves differ. Some stories show it as painful and violent, others almost graceful. Greek mythology introduces the tale of King Lycaon of Arcadia, who tried to trick Zeus by offering him a child as a meal. Enraged, Zeus cursed him to become a beast. That one myth alone seeded hundreds of future retellings. Werewolves became cautionary figures, beasts hiding beneath human skin. From medieval folklore to modern horror, their image has shifted, but the fear never faded. We still tell their stories, still fear what we might become. It's the monster in the mirror. All right, guys, now let's talk about something cute. Number 5. Unicorn. Unicorns, those white horse-like creatures with a single twisted horn, have symbolized purity and magic in stories for thousands of years. Cultures across continents embraced their lore. Ancient Greek writers like Pliny the Younger described them in detail, though some saw them more as distant animals than enchanted beings. In the Hebrew Bible, a creature called the ram is mentioned, and its image over time morphed into what many now recognize as the unicorn. With the help of tall tales and embellishment, the horned horse eventually became an icon in European folklore. It was said unicorns couldn't be tamed, only calmed by pure maidens, a concept that fit neatly with medieval ideas of virtue and mysticism. Their likeness appeared in royal tapestries, religious texts, and even ancient bestiaries. Whether the product of mistaken identity, exaggeration, or pure imagination, the unicorn still ranks as one of mythology's most recognized creatures. All magic, no proof, but still impossible to ignore. Number 4. Lamia. In ancient Greek mythology, Lamia was a chilling figure, a child-devouring entity who later became a night-stalking spirit. But she wasn't always a monster. Early versions paint Lamia as a stunning queen from Libya who fell into tragedy after becoming Zeus's lover. Once Hera found out, she forced Lamia to consume her own children, those born from her affair with Zeus. As if that weren't cruel enough, Hera also cursed her with eternal insomnia. Unable to sleep and racked with grief, Lamia became a symbol of both pain and fury. Out of pity, Zeus granted her the power of prophecy and the ability to remove her eyes temporarily for relief. Lamia's transformation from royalty to monster wasn't just about vengeance. It was about sorrow turned savage. Over time, she shifted into a figure used to scare children and warn the foolish. Her legend endures not because she was cruel, but because she was broken, and that's even more haunting. Number 3. Dragons. Dragons have always been larger than life, creatures that breathe fire, fly with massive wings, and seem nearly impossible to kill. These ancient beasts have lingered in stories for thousands of years and recently found new fame thanks to the massive success of Game of Thrones. But they weren't just fantasy icons. Ancient civilizations, including the Greeks and Sumerians, recorded tales of massive serpent-like creatures. Live Science notes that different cultures describe dragons in radically different ways, some as wise and noble, others as destructive and demonic. The idea stuck because it played into humanity's love of danger and awe. There were no two dragons alike, but every version had one thing in common. They embodied raw, unfiltered power. While modern dragons fly across TV screens, their oldest forms slithered through scrolls and temple carvings. Whether feared or worshipped, dragons never left the human imagination. Not then, not now. Fire or no fire, they still burn into memory. Number 2. Kraken. The Kraken is one of mythology's most terrifying sea beasts, a monstrous cephalopod so huge it could crush entire ships. The earliest recorded mention comes from King Sverre of Norway in 1180. He described a massive creature capable of swallowing an entire maritime crew in one brutal swoop. Tales spread across Scandinavia, and each version made the Kraken even more grotesque. Though accounts vary slightly, most agree it was some kind of deep-sea horror with tentacles long enough to drag ships under. Over time, these legends were likely inspired by real sightings of the Architeuthis ducks, commonly known as the giant squid. Measuring up to 43 feet, the creature itself needs no exaggeration. Sailors who glimpsed one in the ocean mist likely didn't stick around to measure. Today, the Kraken looms large in pop culture, but its roots are deeply tangled in old-world fear and sea-worn superstition. Back then, the ocean didn't just hide storms, it hid monsters. Number 1. Headless men. Sailors once returned with bizarre accounts of wild, headless beings from remote parts of Asia and Africa, stories that eventually shaped the legend of the Blemmies. These headless men were described in ancient texts like Herodotus's Histories as hairy humanoids whose faces were oddly embedded in their chests. The tale caught the imagination of European writers and thinkers for centuries. Pliny the Elder documented them, and even Sir Walter Raleigh noted their existence in his writings. Shakespeare referenced them in Othello. While modern scholars view them as misinterpretations or exaggerations of distant tribes, back then, people believed they were real. The mystery gave rise to maps showing headless figures and tales of uncharted lands inhabited by monstrous humanoids. Today, they live on as eerie cultural artifacts, proof of how curiosity, fear, and imagination can twist the unfamiliar into something utterly bizarre. Legends fade, but the mental image of a man with his face on his chest? Unforgettable. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.